This is Dan of Vagabond Awake,
𝐂𝐎𝐒𝐒 from Purple Venture.
and today we'd like to talk about our Vietnam slow travel costs.
Yes.
But before we do that, we would just talk a little bit about what it felt like to travel Vietnam for 90 days. What were your thoughts? What did you feel about Vietnam?
It's only food.
Only food.
The $1 meal.
$1 meals, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and even for the vegetarians and non-vegetarians like me,
Yeah.
it's a food heaven. I eat non-stop over there.
Yeah, and Vietnamese food is healthy. I mean, in particular,
They have a lot of green.
a lot of green, and it's a very hot soup, or pho. And it's everywhere. You're just walking along and you smell really good food, and there's someone like a pop-up restaurant on the sidewalk selling $1 meals. And we spent more in some restaurants and stuff, but I'm not sure we got better meals spending more. And so our expenses were really low, weren't they?
How much is our expenses over there for 90 days, 3 months?
We spent $3,791
Wow.
in 90 days, which is 3 months, $1,895 per person, or $600 per month per person is what it costs us to be there.
600 per month per person. So
Yeah.
both of it is like 1,200.
And what's amazing about that number is that it includes the transfers between cities, it includes the flight into Vietnam,
And including the tour, because we touring around.
and we went in tours, and it also includes rents that are higher than the cost to live there, because we're renting Airbnbs and hotel rooms, and so if you live there, you would spend even less. So, touring, it turns out to be about It's about $1,250 a month or something, including transfers between cities, tours. Everything. There's a few things we didn't include, like personal stuff we purchased that not all people would want to purchase, but that includes all of the rent, the food, alcohol, transportation, even included our data for our phones and tours that we took. So that's everything.
That's amazing.
In 90 days. And we started from the top. We went Hanoi all the way down through Hue, Da Nang, Hoi An, Nha Trang, Da Lat, Mune, Vung Tau, Ho Chi Minh, and Phu Quoc. And then once we got to the bottom of Vietnam.
One question: do you have problem to travel in Vietnam? I mean, in the language barrier.
Oh, language barrier. No, I didn't. I mean, there were a few times that we got into situations where we were unable to communicate at all. We just had to walk away, but.
No, we use the Google Translate.
But we'd use the Google Translate usually, and we would say something into Google, and it would translate and say it in Vietnamese, and we could just hold it up to the person's ear, and they would hear it. Or we could type it out, and it would type it in. It would translate.
I don't speak Vietnamese.
I don't either.
So we don't have any problem to be traveling in Vietnam. Just with the big smile, we bring everything.
Yeah, and the restaurants, everywhere we went in the central parts of cities, there was people around us that spoke not only English but other languages, German and French, and you heard many people speaking Chinese also as we walked about.
Yeah, because people will be wondering that Vietnam is not like Philippines. They think Philippines everyone speak English.
Right.
Yeah, but actually in Vietnam, there's people also know a little bit English.
Yeah.
It's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, they know how to serve you, and you
Yes.
just only have to learn a few weird words. Like I'm a vegetarian, so I have to say chai.
Yes.
If I go into a meeting restaurant, and the cook immediately knows to make me something without meat in it.
That's
so,
nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
There's not too many other words we really needed to learn.
No,
They all knew
mostly
thank
we
you and
speak.
where's the bathroom
Yes.
and which way is this or that.
We don't have any problem to travel in
No,
Vietnam.
it was a lovely place. And it's not just the food. I really was impressed by the culture there. There's just ancient culture there everywhere you turn, and temples, Buddha temples everywhere, and just a real sense of a very humble but proud people there. And it didn't feel as commercial as other parts of Southeast Asia, right? It felt more natural, like
Yeah,
we were visiting them instead of they were accommodating us, right?
Yes.
I felt like I was in another culture instead of a culture that was trying to.
Because we are went to the place not so much tourists, and the food that we eat, they teach me how to eat that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very nice.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, like we go to restaurants and people would sit down.
Not a restaurant actually, it's street food.
It's street food. So they're kind of like restaurants. They're pop-up restaurants at night. People just bring these little plastic stools and tables out, and they bring their own cooking equipment and all this stuff pre-cut, and they just hand out a menu and you sit down and you eat.
Yeah.
And when they set it down in front of you, they look at you like, do they know what to do?
Yeah.
And if it's a meal you haven't had before, they'll say, okay, you put this on there and you do this and you eat it. And so they're very, although they're tourist aware, you don't feel like the purpose of their life is to serve you. They're living their life and you're visiting. And so it's nice in that way.
Yes, and tonight I also have a video up about
oh yeah.
Yeah, the Vietnam spring roll.
Yeah.
Because after the coconuts in the private beach resorts, 3 days 2 nights, I no need to cook, no need to clean. I was so tired after that. Then you just make some.
Yeah. So somewhere up here, there's like a little eye. Click that, and you'll see Chung Hoi's picture. Or there'll be a link to one of her videos. It's Vietnamese spring rolls, so go watch it. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so I'll get into some numbers now, and I'll show you Vietnam as I talk about some of the numbers.
That's perfect.
Thanks for joining me, Chung Hoi.
Cheers.
Yeah, so our cost to slow travel Vietnam is a subject. There's no need to take notes. At the end of this video, I will provide you with a link to my webpage that has a written copy of our costs to slow travel Vietnam. The following costs were assembled from notes Chung Hoi took while we slow traveled Vietnam. There's 2 maps on the webpage, the northern and the southern part of Vietnam you can use. And I recommend you travel through Vietnam in that order. Before you go to Vietnam, make sure to use Chung Hoi's tutorial on how to get your approved entry letter for a 90-day visa. There's a link to that also on the webpage. But remember, do your own research because the visa rules worldwide are changing rapidly during the COVID-19 situation. And so you need to think about that. So what I put together for you is the cost of each city, and it's on the webpage. It's I'll show you a brief shot of the photo now of what's on the webpage, but it talks about how many days we spent in each city and how much we paid per rent per night, food per day, alcohol, transportation, and data for the phone and tours, and each city. And then there's a per day cost for both of us, and then a per person cost, and the total we spent in each city. And so, quickly, in Hanoi, for 2 people, we were spending $53 a day. In Hoi, we were spending $54. Da Nang, we were spending $45 per day. Hoi An, we were spending about $36 per day. Nha Trang, $39 per day. In Da La, we were spending about $38 per day. By the way, these are all dollars I'm quoting you. In Mune, we spent about $32 a day. Vung Tau, about $31 a day. Ho Chi Minh, a little more expensive, about $48 a day. And Phu Quoc, in the most southern part of Vietnam, we were spending, it's a White Sand Beach Island, we were spending about $44 per day. The table also includes about what we think you can get a 1-bedroom apartment for in that city and how that changes your daily and monthly costs. For example, in Hanoi, you can get a 1-bedroom apartment for around $300 a month. And your utilities will be about $50, and your Wi-Fi will be about $45. If you subtract the daily rate we spent for the Airbnb in Hanoi, and add that in instead, it would cost you about $12.69 a month to live in Hanoi if you decided to spend more time there, or and what have you. Hoi, you could live for about $10.50 a month. Da Nang, about $12.50 a month. By the way, these numbers are for 2 people. And what I basically, again, what I did is I took our living costs from our visit and I subtracted the expensive accommodations that are short-term and added about what a apartment would cost you there. And that's about what it would cost to live there. Hoi An, about $1,100. Nha Trang, about $1,000 a month. Da La, you could get away with about $1,000 a month. Mune, this for about $800 a month. Vung Tau, about $850. Ho Chi Minh, about $1,500 a month for 2 people, and Phu Quoc, around $1,400 a month for 2 people. Again, in summary, all these costs are on the table, and you just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to see all of this in writing. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. The goal of the channel, of course, is to help each other, travelers, slow travelers, and retired cheap people. But I'm unable to have complete visibility into everyone's needs. So collaborations are welcome here. Many expats listening to this video right now have experienced some of this personally. Many of them have thoughts on tricks of living internationally. I'm inviting them to leave comments below and respectfully criticize anything I had said or failed to say in this video, and you should feel that is helpful to others. I'd also like to invite some of you to come on the channel and share what you know about our cost to slow travel Vietnam or retire cheap there. Click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to get a written copy of our cost to slow travel Vietnam for 90 days. At that link, you'll also see our catalog of over 50 retired cheap reports all over the world. Plus, make sure to grab a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for over 13 years. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for Vagabond Buddha. The world is your home. What time will you be home for dinner?